All right, so in this question, the first thing we want to do as always is we're going to read that question first. And the question is going to be, if there are 55 red marbles, how many blue marbles are there? Okay, sounds good. So again, we are given conditional information where they say, hey, we have 55 red. How many blue is that going to be? All right, so before we even get started, everybody, can you see first that, again, this question sentence gives us conditional information that is connected to the number of blue marbles that we want. So the 55 red is being compared with the unknown number of blue that we're trying to find. Give me a yes or no if that part there makes sense. Excellent. Now, once we have that comparison, let's understand that we have another comparison being made. It says, in a marble bag, the ratio of red to blue is 11 to 7. What's the most important part here? It's not the 11 and 7, it's the first red and second blue. So what we know is that the 11 is red, the 7 is blue, because the order matters. So what I'm going to do now is I'll write 11 for the red down here, and then I'll write the 7 for blue. There are several ways that we can continue. The most popular way that we're going to continue with is setting up our proportion and cross multiplying and dividing. That is the most common way that most folks remember this. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'll go ahead here and compare. Check this out. I will compare red to blue. Red to blue. Everybody, I'm going to put a capital B for the blue marbles, but I want to show you here 55 over blue. Again, this is red compared to blue. Everybody, can you see that first? If I write this ratio as a fraction, can you see that I'm comparing red to blue? All right, perfect. And then number 2, remember that a proportion is simply one ratio being equal to another. All I have to do is compare the same things in the same way, and I'll be fine. So how do I do this? Again, compare red to blue. 11 compares to red, 7 compares to blue. There we are. Everybody, before I continue, do you understand that this is a proportion because we've made the same comparisons? Red to blue over red to blue. These are the same comparisons. Right on. Because once we have this, this is when we can rely on the classic technique of cross multiplying and dividing, and that's how we'll get there. So I'm going to show you that way. I'll show you how we can actually take a lot less time with a different method as well. So here we go. Let's cross multiply. We have b times 11, which is going to give us 11b. And then we have 55 times 7. And then once we do 55 times 7, if that's not apparent, no worries. We can go ahead and write that over here. That'll be 350 plus 35, so 385. But we can do 5 times 7, 35. 5 times 7 again, 35 plus 3 is 38. And that's, there we are, 385. And then lastly, what we're going to do is divide both sides by the 11. And from here, we cross out or cancel out on the left. And then we'll do a little bit of long division to do 11 into 385. 11 going into 38 is 3 times. We subtract 33, leaving 5 left over. And once we drop the 5, we have ourselves 11 going into 55, and that'll be 5 times. And so then we get our final answer, B equals 35. But everybody, would you be surprised to know that we could actually get the answer super quickly? And I want to show you what that looks like right over here. If we take a look at this area right here, when we compare the same things in the same way, this is going to give you much more of an advantage than you think you would have gotten before. Everybody, watch this. If I compare the same things in the same way, watch and learn. Everyone, how do I go from 11 to 55? What number do I multiply 11 by to get to 55? That's going to be 5. And guess what? Proportions are all about comparing the same things in the same way. So if you knew that from here to here was times 5, from red to red is times 5, from blue to blue is times 5. Watch this. 7 to B. Everybody, what's 7 times 5 going to give us? That'll give us 35. And look at that. We got the same correct answer in quite literally 90% less time. We didn't have to do the big multiplication. We didn't have to do the big division. We simply saw the comparison being times 5, and we can save a ton of time on that one. All right, next question up. We're dealing with a problem that's just 2 sentences, but you don't want to jump the gun because it says here, hey, if you buy 3 yards of cable, how much will it cost? Now, everybody, this seems like a very sincere problem. This seems like a very straightforward problem because it says, hey, cables costs, 35 cents per foot. If you buy 3 yards of cable, sounds like I'm going to be multiplying to get that final cost. And so most folks will just say, hey, 3 multiplied by 35 cents. We're going to get something to the tune of $1.05. And you might be super excited about this to say that you got B as the answer. But the problem is, everybody, let's go ahead and understand the underlying story. The 3 right here, everybody, the 3, what unit represents the 3? What is that? 3 what? Yeah, 3 yards. Okay, let's slow it down and write that down right there. Question, everybody. The 35 cents, that's 35 cents per what? 35 cents per foot. Oh, interesting. Very interesting. Everybody, is a yard the same thing as a foot? Is that the same thing? Yeah, they're not. They are not the same. So what do we do from here, right? What are we supposed to do? Well, we have to convert. That's the outcome that's needed. We need to have consistent units. We have yards here, foot there. I would rather turn the 3 yards into whatever number of feet, then do the multiplication, and I'll be good. So allow me to just move this over here off to the side. And let's convert. To convert from yards to feet, everybody, what do we multiply by? 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. So we're going from big to small, and we'll multiply by that 3. 3 times 3, that'll give us 9. And so it's 9 multiplied by 35 cents per foot that we should be doing. Because again, it's 9 feet. And then we have 35 cents per foot. We're good to go. So here we go. Boom. 9. 5 times 9. That's going to give us 45. 3 times 9 is 27. Add the 4. That's 31. Now, before we're done, before we conclude, we have to bring a certain number of decimals back. And notice that we have 1, 2 right there. So we're going to bring 1, 2 right back. So the final answer is going to be $3.15. And we could have gotten that the same way over here, because the result that we got for the $1.05 was before we converted from yards to feet. If we remember at the end, we can do that, because $1.05 times 3 is $3.15. And so, yeah, we can still get the same correct answer even if you forgot to convert in the beginning. You just have to make sure that you, at some point, account for that conversion. So with that, everybody, there's your correct answer. Answer choice C. We have to get the yards converted to feet so that we can multiply by 35 cents per foot. That's the biggest key there.